Welcome to the Power of Charms. My name is Kay McDonald, and I love to interview wonderful women doing impactful things in the world. And today I have a very special guest, Linda Rendleman. And Linda and I met almost exactly a year ago. It was just amazing. We were at a conference about women for Take the Lead, actually. And it was right before I think the COVID thing hit, like a week or two after. But we met at this conference and just became fast friends in one day that we Linda.
Oh, yeah.
Super, super. So Linda is such an inspiration, though. She's done so many amazing things in her life, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let me give you a little bit of background on Linda. She's a passionate champion of women. She's a cancer survivor and the visionary of a nonprofit called Women Like Us Foundation. This is a global nonprofit organization with the mission of changing the world by empowering women and girls. And her flagship project, Women Like Us Center in Nakuru, Kenya, did I pronounce that correctly?
You did.
Okay, has changed the lives of women who are victims of abuse and poverty by implementing the Women Like Us Achieve program, which provides skills, education, and economic stability. And then most recently, Linda has added a dynamic radio show, podcast, and coaching opportunity for women to come together and create their most authentic lives. And Linda had me on her show also last week, and we had a wonderful time. And I just really, really enjoyed it and getting to know you even better than when we had those few days together.
It was fun. Yeah.
So, Linda, one of the things that I asked you at the beginning of our interview is I think that every woman has a defining symbol, something that she stands for, something that defines her life. And as you know, I'm in the charm business, so we like turning those symbols into charms. You do so much work worldwide and globally. I was not surprised when you told me that your symbol would be the world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to put it on my charm bracelet.
Absolutely. And we will work on that. But tell me, what is your newest project in support of women right now? What's going on in Linda's life?
Well, putting the foundation aside, which we can talk about what's going on there, which is amazing. I'm also spending some time doing a podcast, which you were on when we already talked about that. And my whole life's work, really, truly, my legacy has been supporting women and their work and empowering women, even though I always want to find another word other than empower,
Right.
because we use it so often, really honestly actualizing what women want to do and build their authentic lives. And I think, Kay, at the age that we're at right now, that is something that is so critical to women. It's kind of a classic thing. When women get right around 40, because I've done, or 50 actually, I've done research on it, it's when a woman will stop and go, wait a minute, I was going to do this, and what about this? And what about that dream when I was 25? And maybe that's not even my dream anymore. But so I'm very, very much into helping women find their specific way to actualize their dreams. And I know everyone's familiar with Maslow's hierarchy. And, at the bottom of that pyramid, it's we got to eat. Right. And we got to have shelter, right? And as you go up the hierarchy of Maslow's pyramid, at the top is actualization. And I read recently that women are actualized more than ever before. More women are getting to the top of that pyramid than ever before in I could say our history of women, but really, truly, that's exactly right. And so I'm very, very much into, as I move on and as I use my experiences over the years and I tell my own stories, my specific goal is to help women tell their stories, because story is everything, the essence of what we have done as women and who we are as women is really about what we've done in our lives. And that's our stories.
That's so true. And I don't think so many women take things for granted that they're good at or that they have history with, that they could do and take and expand into a whole new opportunity.
Mhm.
So I noticed that is something that you really talk about and help women maximize because you do coach women. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, that's exactly right. And I actually coached a lot of women 20, 30 years ago because
Mm,
my education, my graduate work is women's counseling. And
mhm.
then my undergrad is writing and public speaking. So I've been really lucky because I've done that all my life. So I got really lucky there. It's just what I love to do. But yes, yes. And I did it some time ago. And now I'm bringing back particularly the stories piece to help women write their stories. They can actually express themselves through a cookbook. They can express themselves through photography. They can write the whole thing.
Good.
And because I'm an author of 3 books and I've done a lot of writing in my life, I just feel like all my experiences are going to come together to do that. Oh, bless your heart.
Yes, and I'm so impressed because you actually have captured so many of these stories and made them into these incredible books. I just finished reading this one. I love this. I had picked it up a few times. What's nice is you can read a few chapters and then set it down and read a few more. It's like a bunch of short stories about all these inspiring women. So, I
Mhm.
mean, you do so much, Linda. I'm just in awe. You're an author, you're a coach, and then
Mhm.
you started a nonprofit. Tell
And we
us
have a
the story.
documentary. You
And
probably
you
even know about our documentary.
okay, and I know that there's more, and we'll
Yeah,
get
we won't get to all of it. It's fine.
yes, but okay, so can you take us on the journey of how you started Women Like Us Foundation?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Again, literally 30 years ago, I started working with women because that was where I needed to be. And I did that I had a partner who was a journalist, and she and I came together and created actually one of the very first citywide magazines for women in the country. There was one back then, there was one other in Virginia somewhere, because all of our magazines at that time, talking 30 years ago, all of the magazines were national. You know, there was Women's Day and Red Book and all of these,
Yeah, yeah.
and we'd read about all of these famous women. But it was like, what about us? What about us? What about women like us? Right?
Women Like
Exactly.
Us.
Yes, exactly. And so we did. We started a magazine in the city of Indianapolis, and then from that became a television show. And we were speaking out for women. And my reason for doing that, honestly, was quite honestly, I had gotten divorced, and I realized how I really wanted to live my life.
Mm,
And I felt that there had to be other women out there that got in situations where, back then, I mean, in the 70s, did you know that you could actually go to jail if you didn't have sex with your husband? Not that I don't think anyone actually did, but I mean, credit cards. You couldn't be on a checkbook. I mean, it's in my book. It's in the first part of that book, by
mm,
the way.
mhm.
So it wasn't really anger, but it was, it probably was a little anger. If
Might
I
be
think
angry.
I was going to soften it, but that was really it. So anyway, that started my work for women, and then I moved on when the first internet really became available to all of us, and a lot of the first websites that were local. Again, we were there for that. So we were one of the first 6 websites ever in our same city to get started as a local website, and so we know where that went.
You're very progressive.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I was a little bit ahead of the curve. And so anyway, moving forward with the website, I started a company called Business Women Connect, and it was a for-profit, and it was focused toward business women coming together, meeting. We had meetings, I had all this content on the website, and there was a membership thing. So we got started, but always in my head, I felt like I should be in the nonprofit world. It was just, one of those things that it
Mhm.
was like many women who might be listening to our conversation right now. But I think I could really do this. And quite honestly, it was an energy thing, because just as I was starting to add a nonprofit to my for-profit company, is when I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
And and I had the 501c3 set up, ready to go, everything. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. And and this was at the same time when I also had a television show called Business Women Connect on Fox every Sunday morning. And all these things were going on. And my cancer was coming from my left tonsil. Anyway, the point is that I completely lost my voice. And when I lost my voice, everything took a turn,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
because I'm a speaker, I'm on TV, I'm, have a television show, all that, all that.
It's been
So,
devastating.
so that stopped, it had to stop. But when I was well and I knew I wanted to write my first book, Women Like Us, a very good friend of mine came to me and said, Linda, don't you have a charity? And what we did was we ended up, Women Like Us, my first book, we had this amazing event where it was all over the newspaper in our city, and we sold out twice, and it was crazy because women did want to come together as women. And I really kind of feel like that's when, for me anyway, it really started this complete movement for women and standing up for ourselves and living our lives and speaking our voice, first finding our voice
Right.
and then speaking our voice.
Right.
And so we rolled that in, changed the name of the charity to the Women Like Us Foundation.
I love that.
And that was 17 years ago.
My gosh. My gosh.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
same, probably the same time I started Charity Charms. And then
Oh,
we didn't get to meet each other for 16 years later. So
I know, exactly. I know. Well, we're still doing our thing.
hey, tell me about how your podcast supports women, because I really enjoyed being on that.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's back to who we are,
Mhm.
what our stories are. I love it when we just really talk down to earth and raw about our journey. And there's some feminist stuff in there because we all have come along. We are not the women that our mothers were, but we're also not we're not the women that the young women behind us will be.
Mhm.
We'll never get to the point where my goodness, where they are now and where they're headed. And it's so wonderful. But you know what? We can pass it down to them. And we're still doing amazing things. I'm not saying that we're not. So the mission is to hear the strategies and the stories from these women and how they've moved through their lives and really stood up for women's rights and equality, pay equality, all of that wonderful stuff is going on right now. And so I'd like to make sure that we get a lot of that on the show.
Absolutely. And I probably feel another book around the corner too, because you just are getting such great stories and such great content. And it's important
Mhm.
to share. It's important because it's inspiring to other women.
It is important to share. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And so when I met you at the conference, you were telling me about these trips that you take to Kenya for the
Mhm.
foundation. And you were going to go on one in a couple months, and I wanted to go. And then the world blew up and I couldn't go. You're going in this coming September again. Tell us about those trips
Yeah.
and what happens on those trips and how you impact those women in Africa.
Right, right, right. Over the years, we have done a lot of things partnering with women, supporting women and we've always supported women that they may not be dealing with specifically with women's issues, but supporting women that are making change in the world. And that was always kind of hard for people to understand. And so why I tell you that is because really, truly, even though we've still done some amazing things in the United States, especially through COVID, because we ended up, our women in Kenya sewed masks that we sent to New York City hospitals when all of that was going on. So that was a wonderful, and we had women in the United States that did that as well. So we do some projects that seem like the right time to do them, but our main focus is the Women Like Us Center, and that is in Nakuru, Kenya. And we are just absolutely, I'm just so thrilled how many women we have been able to help. It's very educational based.
Mhm.
We're located at the end of the slums in Nakuru. The women find us. We go out and find them. They come every day. I have two amazing directors. They're learning to sew. And this is what you'll see on the trip, by the way. I will answer about the trip. but yeah, and so we have 25 sewing machines that we were able to get donors to donate the sewing machines. They sew, they sell their dresses, their bags, all of the different things that they sew. We also just started a computer lab. We just got enough funding to, and I have to tell you, Kay, it's like these women, they say, one woman in particular was talking to me and she said, I get to touch one. And she meant a computer. I've always wanted to touch one.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean, that it's just unbelievable. We have micro enterprise, and we have farming. I taught them how to raise chickens and sell them, make money with that. I learned all about chickens.
I bet that was
What
that
am
was
I
quite
doing
the
with that?
education.
Chickens? Okay. No, I could do it now, except I don't kind of live in the right place to be able to do that. And a really important piece that we do at the center is we have one of our directors is a psychologist, and so many of these women are victims of domestic violence. They talk openly about rape. They are so impoverished, and so we have workshops. We have one-on-one work with them, or she does therapy and also group therapy. And I could just go on and on. We just got bicycles so that some of the women that live far away can get to the center. It just makes me really happy.
Linda,
Yeah.
I know it's always hard for nonprofits to raise the funds to provide services like that. How are you able to procure your funds?
Well, we got very, very lucky about 3 years ago. Um, I met Tyler Perry's partner, Galila Bagali,
Oh my
and we got a 3-year grant from him.
Oh,
And
wow.
then taken off. I mean, we still, when everything we do, anything new, we still go out and raise the money, but he keeps us stable. He has kept us stable so that we can really, truly become self-sustainable. And so that was a real blessing for us, but we still raise money. In
Yeah.
fact, if anyone's watching, get on my website, womenlikeusfoundation.org. You'll see all about it.
Yes, 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 yes. I know it's an ongoing thing, but so inspirational that you are making such an impact in those women's lives. And it sounds like you're teaching them skills that allow them to be self-sufficient,
This is the
which
point.
they
We're
weren't
going
able to do before.
economic stability for each one of them. And, as we all know, that plays over into their daughters, it plays over into their families, it plays over into their communities. And so back to answer your question, yes, we did have to cancel the trip last year. We are going this September. It looks like it's going to be fine to be able to do that. All the people that were signed up are hanging on because they really wanted to go. So we travel through Kenya. We do volunteer at the center for about 5 days of the 2 weeks. But then we also visit others. There's a school that we helped for 10 years. That's the Noel School. We'll probably go there and see the children. And we also do lots of safari. In fact, every day, every morning, every evening, we do safari. If people don't want to go and take a break, they can, but it's the most beautiful country. It's
I wouldn't think
amazing. It's just
so.
amazing. And this time I'm going to also be doing a workshop for whoever wants about their experience in Kenya and put it into their own story. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
That's
we're
so
excited.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, no moss grows under your feet. I can tell.
Oh, or
You're
something.
such a go-getter. I also wanted to talk about, you were recently honored in Washington, D.C. with Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, Sonia Sotomayor, and 18 other women.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
And your story's now being honored in a song and a new album premiering in March. The name of it is Hear Her Song.
Yes. Let me
Oh,
very
tell
quickly,
us.
very, very quickly. Yeah, so there's a woman by the name of Carla Derlikov, and she is an international opera singer. She's absolutely amazing. And she started a charity called the Canales Project. And what she wanted to do within one of her initiatives in that project was to find women that have persevered, that have amazing stories, and have that each woman that they select, and fortunately I was fortunate enough to be one of them,
Absolutely.
um, So then what she did was she took our stories, and a professional poet wrote a poem about the questions that we answered. It was really questions that she asked us, and we reacted to them based on our life and our work. And so first it became a poem that was amazing. And then she went from there, and the poem went to a song composer, songwriter, and musician. They were all women. And the woman who got my story, her name is Dina Finet. She's actually going to be on my show in a couple of weeks, I think, or no, in March sometime. But and so then they wrote songs for each of the women. So Michelle Obama had a song, Hillary Clinton, Sonia, me, all of the other women. There were 21 of us all together that were honored. And when we went to the inaugural event in Washington, D.C. at the National Gallery of Art, and they played all of these songs, and I cried my eyes out because it was like someone had literally understood me and just like grabbed me right here. I am not kidding. And for me, based on my story, my song is called One More Day.
Oh,
And yeah, it's just, I
beautiful.
still cry when I hear it. But so the point here is that she did this for about 3 years in a row, and a lot of women were eventually had a song written about them. So it ended up being, well, I guess it ended up being 2 years. So it was about 40 women overall. But so what's happening now is that they're putting together an album, and they're selecting of all the women 11 songs, and fortunately mine got selected. So
Congratulations. That is so exciting.
I know, it's so cool, and it will come out. I'll be all over helping promote it, and it's going to come out, I think, the middle of March, pretty soon.
Okay, well, good. You're going to have to promote it because we're all going to have to find out about it.
It's just a cool way to tell women's stories. It really is. I mean, it's obviously it's not just about me, but it's just a beautiful initiative that she's created.
Well, we'll be sure and share that with our audience. I cannot wait to hear it.
Good.
So exciting.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Linda, this has just been a joy connecting with you today.
Oh, thank you. You too.
I'm in such awe of all the amazing things you've done in your life and all the amazing things that are coming up too as well.
Good. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
thank you for your time. And please, everyone, be sure and go on to Linda's website, womenlikeusfoundation.com.org.
.org.
.org. Okay.
.org.
And then also listen to her podcast. It's available on iHeartRadio. And
yeah, just all they have to do is search what's next for women like us.
Okay.
And there's also a corresponding website to that, what's next for womenlikeus.com, and you can find it all there too.
It'll all be listed. Anyway, if you're ready for a dose of inspiration,
yes,
listen to more about Linda Rendleman.
Oh,
thank you so much. Now, everyone needs to be inspired by you. It's just great.
Thank you. I'm so excited about all of the great things you are doing, Kay, too. So let's definitely continue to stay in touch. Maybe someday actually in person, who knows, right?
I want to be on one of those Kenya trips. That's my goal.
Okay. So. All right. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you,
right.
Thank you, Linda.
So much. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.